looking rain week, but no severe weather is expected.
Anybody else? Yes.
Just a reminder, Friday is the deadline for open enrollment, and if your people don't enroll, they won't have health insurance. So that's prevented. We have 400 people still that need to enroll.
Anybody behind the screen, anybody else? Questions, announcements? Seeing none, we'll go on to agenda item number 3, new business. I don't know of any. You guys do. Agenda item number 4 is annual inventory certification from admin services for our approval. Please approve.
Second?
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. Agenda number 5, minutes for approval for the management conference special meeting of March 18th, 2020. Board of County Commissioners emergency meeting is May 18th.
Approval. Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. Item number 6 is unfinished business, bid openings, highway for reinforced concrete box section.
Approval.
I'm sorry. I don't have any bids. Go ahead.
She's cranking.
Yeah.
We'll go item 6B, which is bid awards. All are to be deferred except number 3, Sheriff for Janitorial Supplies, Home Depot, Advanced Industrial Solutions, Empire Paper Company, and 4B for Tulsa County Departments, to Welding Supplies, Tulsa Gas and Beer LLC.
Approval.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 6C, addendums. Engineers number 1 to notice the bidders for rebuilding of North Beck, 66th Street North. Answer bidder questions. Tulsa County Departments number 1 to notice the bidders for paper products, also answer bidder questions.
Move to approve.
Second?
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 6D, amendments. Sheriff number 10 to the agreement with Turnkey Health Clinics, Comprehensive Health Service at David L. Moss Criminal Justice Center. Extension of services from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, and for monthly reimbursements.
Approval.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 6B2, Tulsa County Departments. Number 1 is the bid award for Dodge Automotive Repairs and Mark Allen Buick GMC. Award for 1 year beginning June 11th. Number 9 is the bid for coffee services to Java Dave's Executive Coffee Service to extend the bid award for 3 months. Move to approve.
Second?
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 6.3, Treasurer number 1 to agreement with SNG for use of Cox Business Center.
Approval.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 7, action items. Gas and diesel fuel quotes are all up. Move to approve.
Second?
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 7B, reappointments by me of John Fothergill to the Economic Development Strategy Committee for 1-year term, and also John to Metropolitan Environmental Trust.
Approval.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 7C, we're going to hold until the end of the meeting. 7D, request for approvals, building ops for property damage, police and shelter insurance, and engineers. Approval of Corps of Engineers restoration plan for the Arkansas River Corridor Extra System, and authorize Alex Mills sign and submit 2 copies of the Department of Army permit to construct a low water Arkansas River Dam south of Tulsa. Move to approve.
Second?
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. 70, agreements for approval from billing ops with INCOG, District Attorney with Thomas Reuters for online practice solution software, ProFlex products for civil and criminal division.
Approval.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. Engineers and Intercom Services for necessary corrective action, Tulsa County Facility District 3, Human Resources with Government Jobs Inc., Juvenile Bureau with Bryan, Cleveland, Lincoln, and Woodward County, temporary custody of juvenile for 2021, Sheriff of Coxcon LLC, Gallup Architects, and India Identity and Security for live scan products. and Tulsa area management agency with Graywall software for training support of COVID-19 response solution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. 7F, agreement renewal, Board of County Commissioners with 50 and LLC and River Parks, Social Services with dispensary of Hope.
Move approval.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. 7G, import resolution for approval from the assessor, engineer, highway, and sheriff.
Move to approve.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. 7H, travel training request for approval from engineer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7I, personal actions for approval from building ops, Washington Board of Parks.
Move approval.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7J, Bureau personal actions, section 5.
Move to accept and file.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7K, City County Health Department documents, section 5.
Move to accept and file.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7L, there are no claims to be disallowed. 7N, claims to pay the bill.
Move to pay bills.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7N, blank purchase order, emergency purchase order submitted.
Move approval.
Second.
Keith.
Yes.
Salih.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. 7O, COVID-19 virus discussion and update.
So, this week we have in Tulsa County confirmed 926 cases. Of those, 725 are recovered. We're up to 157 active cases, up from 101 at this time last week, and 44 deaths, up from 37 this time last week. Statewide, we're looking at 6,090 total cases and 313 deaths.
This is spike, we've gone up, testing in nursing homes.
Possibly the confirmed cases, but the deaths, we're not quite sure what to attribute that to yet. I'll have a better idea after talking about that.
Is Vince in here? No, everything well at the jail?
Yes, we continue testing. Still do not have any positive COVID cases living in the jail, but we are still now working through our jail population, testing everybody. I think to date we've tested over, probably just over 100 that have been negative.
Yes. I will comment. Last week, the entry into the courthouse went well, and from the district attorney's perspective, what court services done. Don't think we had any major issues, and I talked to Judge LaFortune. We'll be getting more activity as we move along, and we'll just assess it as we have issues. Go ahead.
No, I just very pleased. It was so much better than I expected. And even this morning coming in again, the judges did such a good job of lowering the dockets. Really grateful.
And the sheriff's department doing a great job.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. 7P, discuss the possible action regarding 13 CARES funding requests have been approved by the review committee. Quickly, of the 13, 3 of the election board, mostly for increased postage, to announce new voting locations since we lost 87 precincts, and also more absentee ballots. Court services has 1 for working remotely. County clerk has 2 that were approved for working remotely and new safety glass and upgrade the resource planning system. District courts 1 for 36 desktop safety shields for the courtroom. Social services to reduce the number of surfaces that must be touched. Building ops for surface disinfectant supplies and PPEs at 2 of those. One track store square reimbursed for use by Tulsa Health Department and FEMA. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
When they get to my-
We're on, does that?
Well, actually, I think I heard the same.
We're on.
Thanks.
No, I just need one there, there's one up.
Motion to turn.
Second,
Keith.
yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. 7Q1. Action.
I would make a motion that we authorize the district attorney to file mandamus action on behalf of Tulsa County against the state auditor, if she has not determined Tulsa County's actual daily cost reimbursement by the end of the fiscal year.
Second?
Keith.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. 7Q2.
I would move that we grant authority to the DA, Doug Wilson, to proceed as discussed in executive session.
Keith.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Peter. Yes. I will return to 7C. What we do, I want to apologize for leaving waited that long. I had no idea. It may take it. It's not done yet. There's 7 people signed up to speak. Anybody else? All 7 speaking against us renewing this. Is that correct? Give you 15 minutes. You divide it any way you want to. So, you sure what you want to speak?
First.
15 minutes total. Introduce yourself.
My name is Jordan Masariel. On behalf of the Hispanic Affairs Commission, proponents of 287G have something in common. We both seek the utmost safety, security, well-being, and success for our family. I support law enforcement and admire the courageous work we do to keep us safe. However, what I don't support is the abuse of power that some officials use to exert superiority over others, oftentimes minorities. 287G undermines the oath of law enforcement to serve and protect all people, regardless of their nationality, citizenship, or race. I grew up poor and undocumented. My parents rarely gave me the toys or other gadgets. They were considered extras and became few and far between. Instead, my parents gave me special gifts. Special gifts that are not resembled in patriotic colors on the shirt, but in the embodiment of the American dream. The gift of strong work ethic, the gift of resilience, and the will to succeed. I became the first member of my family to graduate high school and graduate college. I began my professional career and continue my path in school, become the youngest doctor recipient of the CPA license. No, I am not alone. I am not an isolated incident. Thousands of other undocumented individuals like me are working hard for their dreams here in the state of Oklahoma, where parents and themselves are at risk of deportation. So as you come forward, for anyone to the podium to express any fears or anguish, rest assured that the immigrant community, you're directing that negative energy to, are the antithesis of everything you're afraid of. Immigrants working hard out there, and the ones standing here today are the true ambassadors whose lives contradict private statements, generalizations, and isolated incidents of their working lives. I offer my thoughts and prayers for everyone to become more compassionate and understanding. And God will share into your hearts and minds so that you can love thy neighbor and open your mind to hard facts of you. God bless you. God bless you all. God bless.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Bob Ritz. Last summer, 4 activists met with county officials and caused them to convene a task force looking into the jail's finances. The activists specifically asked the task force to determine the cost of housing an inmate for 1 day. That information, the county can determine whether they're frankly losing money from the jail's 2 contracts with ICE. Instead, the task force tried to determine how much 287G is costing the county without first establishing the daily record holding inmate. The task force contracted with the MGT consultant group. They determined that the only expense to the county by 287G inmates was incurred during the booking process. For this, they charged the county $13,000. MGT said that the average cost to the county was $6.26 per inmate encountered, or $2,253 per year. They said that beyond the booking process, 287G inmates represent no additional cost to the county. This is worse than false. 287G inmates are held during their pretrial and sentencing cases. Regular inmates are allowed to post bond and wait for court date, but undocumented 287G inmates are not allowed to post bond. They are held for weeks or months before ICE takes administrative custody. During this time, they are housed at the county taxpayer expense. Last year, a community organizing group estimated this cost to be about $100,000 a year, not $2,000 some odd dollars. There's a big difference between $2,253 and $100,000. I have some handouts for each of the commissioners that explains this in more detail than I can cover in 2 minutes. But also, I would like to ask one of the county commissioners to explain to the media that's here today how they can renew a contract without actually knowing the cost of that contract.
We're at almost 5 minutes. Make sure left. You know, we've gone through 4 minutes, 50 seconds. Right? Next person. I'm sorry, right? You through?
Good morning, for the county government. Our county commissioners, Sheriff, I'm Linda Allegro. One of the things that we learned about COVID, under COVID, that so many of us are recognizing that immigrant workers are essential workers. Immigrant workers are enormously in their economy, also economy. They are farm laborers. They work in agriculture. They work in healthcare. And so we celebrate them. But then we also have something known as 287G. It's just there. It's just as a mechanism of control, punishment. And I think that's not a good look. In addition to that, we have a city that's talking about equity. It's a city that's talking about inclusion. You hear the mayor speak that language. You hear our public school people speak that language. We want our kids to speak that language. Welcoming city, an inclusive city, a city founded on equity. 287G doesn't do that. 287G is a system that is dividing our community. It sends a mixed message to people that certain people are just not deserving. I hope we will end 287G and not renew this contract. It's not good work for Tulsa County. Thank you.
8 minutes left.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Chris Schoaf. I'm sure most of you already know me. It is said that 287G deals only with the criminal element. But what isn't said is that there already exists a state statute that addresses the criminal element where a non-citizen is involved. That can be found in Title 22, Section 171.2 of state law. The majority of 287G detainees were initially arrested for DUI. Those persons would still fall under that state statute. The 287G program exacerbates the pretrial detention period, which results in the wasting of tax dollars. Many will spend double and triple the time in pretrial detention as others with the same type of charges. The following statistics are from our data collection report that tracked arrests resulting in a subsequent 287G hold. The data period was from October 14th of 2018 through October 13th of 2019. We found that roughly 21% had their charges dismissed, declined, or not filed. So 1 in 5. Okay. 54% of those people were arrested by TBD, 23% by TCSO, and of that 23%, 2 officers or deputies accounted for 24% of those arrests. About 53% of detainees are likely to have lost whatever housing they did have, a one-time cost of $80,000. Program costs anywhere from $1.4 million on the high side to about $900,000 on the low side. Let's see, about 97% of detainees were likely to have been employed. They would have had about $3 million in spending power, a loss of $57,000 in sales tax. Do not forget the instances where a person wrongly arrested was then placed into removal proceedings. And do not forget the citizens who have been wrongfully held. Thank you for your time.
5.5 minutes left.
Hi, my name is Lee Martinez. I want to thank you all for your time. You heard statistics today in front of the conference. We share the same thing as I do to end the 287 contract. I work for a local school, and this affects the students that I work with day by day. This affects their performance because they're not necessarily focused on their academics. They're focused on how other parents can take care of them. So I'm just coming from that perspective. But as a student myself, that had an immigrant parent growing up, and was constantly worried about our security or safety, we're gonna have a local permit. So now I see that also transition into the students, and it's really affecting their performance and also their dreams of seeing the future. They're constantly worrying about how is it that I'm going to leave my parents, go off to college, and have to support their family. So I just wanted to address this from the students that I can work with. Thank you.
Look at Jeremy wishes to speak.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Kuzma. I teach at TCC. I just want to make a brief statement that, I was affiliated with this group, New Sanctuary. And yeah, I felt, looking at this issue that I think we need a more humane immigration system. And there are so many reports that come out about abuse of the immigration system that, to me, it just doesn't sit right. And I think we need, as Linda was pointing out, as our city, we want to stand for certain values: humanity, inclusiveness, diversity, and the ICE system and our current immigration system has gone against that. So I think this bill is in the wrong spirit, in my opinion. Thank you.
Jose?
I'll wait my time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sheriff, comments? Thank you.
I will tell you, I've been up here, I don't know how many times now in the last 4.5 years, debated this issue, and I certainly respect the comments, and actually it's probably the first time where I agree with the majority of things that were said right here. we do live in a country that should be open arms to people who want to come here, who want to work, who want to take care of their families, their children, who want to get an education and provide for their families. Absolutely. And I think Ms. Allegro talked about equity also. Well, with equity also comes law, the rule of law. Without law, we would have chaos. And so what I would tell you is this. Most of what was said about the people who are here to work and follow that quote-unquote American dream absolutely should have no worries about 287G. Unless, and I'm going to read, there's 48 people in our jail with 287G detainers. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read all of the charges. They are available to the media and always have been. And yet they've not a single solitary time have they ever been read publicly. But here you go. Murder in the first degree, human trafficking, assault and battery on a police officer, child human trafficking, trafficking in heroin, possession of stolen vehicle, or commission of a felony. Now let's go down and you say, well, the sheriff's reading just the highlights. So let's go down to the quote-unquote lesser serious charges. DUI, first offense with injury, accident, no driver's license, no insurance. Possession CD, that's the least serious crime out of the 48. So my suggestion is this, as we keep going down the same path, we keep hearing the same skewed statistics, my deal is this. If all of you promise, okay, that if we get rid of 287G, you will take these individuals into your house and watch them until they come back to criminal court to face the serious charges that they've committed in the streets of Tulsa, then I'd be open to that. But the rhetoric about people are living in fear is exactly that rhetoric. I talk to the Hispanic community, immigrants community, almost on a daily basis. And it's an insult to assume that they are any different than any other community in Tulsa and don't care about crime. Because what's not said is that these individuals are not committing crime at 81st Memorial. They're not committing crime in the gated communities and affluent neighborhoods of Tulsa. They're committing these crimes in the very neighborhoods of the people you pretend to defend and speak for. I too come from immigrant parents. And I know more than anybody in here, based on the neighborhood I grew up in, that these individuals, again, are not committing the crimes in our affluent neighborhoods. They're committing crimes in the barrio, in the projects, in the impoverished neighborhoods. So for anybody to defend these individuals and mix it with the people who do come here to this country to make a better life is simply silly and nonsense. Thank you.
Yeah, you've heard this discussion, action on 17, memorandum of understanding here. I 387G bill. Move to approve. Second.
Keith,
No.
Slee,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes. No further business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Keith,
Yes.
Slee,